I'm Sister Rita Specht. I'm a chaplain at the El Paso Processing Center, which is an immigration detention center. And I've been working there. As a volunteer, I was there for 2 years, and then I've been employed there for a year and a half, and providing religious services for the detainees to see that they can have their own religious preference. I guess a couple things. One thing is we have a big Sikh population, most of them from India, and many of them don't speak English. And my connection with them is when they want their religious diet, and so I see them at that time. And every time I run into them outside, they go like this and bow to me, which is just really makes me feel really good. I mean, they're recognizing and kind of giving gratitude to me. One particular story that I was sharing with somebody earlier today is a woman who came from Guatemala, and she crossed the border and was accosted by a group of men, and she was kept captive and was raped daily by various men. She arrived at she finally was able to escape from the captivity, and unfortunately on the bus, she was traveling from one part of Texas to Seattle, Washington, and was stopped at a checkpoint and was taken off the bus and came to the detention center, which actually ended up being advantageous for her because she was able to get help with a psychologist, with rape victims advocates, and spiritual counseling from me. A very, very faith-filled woman. She was there for almost a year. But she probably, had she been released immediately, would not have gotten the help that she needed. And she inspired me with the wonderful faith that she had. So I'll stop there and let Kathy talk a little bit.
Was she part of Capacitar?
She was in Capacitar, yes. Thank you. Yes, she participated in the first round, and then she was in a special housing unit, so at her request, because she was fearful that someone would recognize her, or asking her questions about what happened to her, and she just couldn't bear that, and she needed time alone. So when she was in the regular barracks, she participated in Capacitar, and she did them by herself when she was in the special housing unit.
My name is Kathy Braun. I'm a Franciscan sister, and I'm a volunteer with Rita. I've been doing this for about 4 years, I think, as a volunteer. Started out doing spiritual counseling with the women one morning a week. And then Capacitar became available, or it was accepted by the Federal Homeland Security Deportation Center as a pilot program in February 2011, and they never said stop. So we started out with 7-week cycle, then a 6-week cycle, and then we found out there was a greater turnover, so we pared it down to a 4-week cycle. Basically, the women love it. It's very gratifying because they really don't know what they're getting into. It's under the Religious Services Department. But when they do the body work, it's just wonderful to see their faces when there's immediate relief or transformation or visualization. There's a lot of favorite stories. The women draw an image at the end of their 4 weeks, and they do a written pre-eval and a written final eval, but what's most telling are the images, and then we gather in a circle. After they've taken considerable time, they have colored pencils, which they don't have access to normally. So the whole process of putting their thoughts down of energy, physical health, emotional health, before and after, it's very revealing. You'll see flowers that were droopy, and then they're bright colors at the end. People say things like, I feel free within myself. I know, even though I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stay with my family here, that it's going to be okay. Whatever happens is going to be okay. It taps into their faith. People will report having less migraines, or I know now how to do the hold for the headaches so that I'm taking less medicine, or I'm not taking the sleep medicine as often. So it's really rewarding on our part, I think, to hear their stories and to see the transformation. a favorite woman was an older woman, and she was there long enough to do the course almost 2 times. And she said the first time it really, was fun, but it didn't sink in. But the second time, I knew I wanted to make it part of my life, and I'm going to teach it to my family when I get back and my friends, and I want to find it where it's training. And she was just so enthusiastic, and she would be a teacher in the barracks, and that's what we encourage the women to do too in there. And some are so enthusiastic, and so it's really been a blessing for us to be part of that. So.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been a blessing for me because it encourages me to practice what I'm going to teach. And we always say to the women also in Capacitar, and we do every session, we always have them teach one another, because it's by teaching someone else that you really learn. And I think we've experienced that, and I think the women experience that as well.